Hi, Chris Valentin here. We're talking about poverty, riches, and wealth, and you're about to read chapter 5. And I think this is one of my very favorite chapters. It's about creating legacy, really. It's about like how are we and what are we doing for the generations yet to come, like our kids, our grandkids, and also on their side, if as a son, as a daughter, what are they doing to perpetuate a wealth culture? And one of the greatest challenges that you'll read about in chapter 5 is the desire that fathers and mothers have to release wealth on the next generation, whether it's financial wealth or spiritual wealth or physical wealth, whatever it is, and then have people receive it and value something that they didn't have to work for. And I think this is one of the greatest challenges in life, really, because we tend to take responsibility and ownership of the things that we work hard for. And if we do something, if we receive something that doesn't cost us something, we often don't have any value for that. And I think a lot about who wants to buy rental cars once they come up for sale? The way people treat rental cars. Or how about houses? You can drive down the street in most big cities and you can tell where all the rental houses stop and where the owners' houses start because of the way people take care of other people's stuff. And the challenge is that you just don't tend to have value for things that you didn't work hard for. And I find that one of the greatest challenges I had was, and have currently, is one, creating enough overflow out of my life that there is something for the next generation. That old bumper sticker you see oftentimes on motorhomes that says, "Spending my children's inheritance." Well, the Bible says that a righteous person leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So we want to leave an inheritance to our children. But the challenge is we want our children to be thankful and have a sense of gratitude so that they take that inheritance and they don't just, blow it like the prodigal son did, just, blew all of his money on prostitutes. We want to be people who are sons and grandsons, our daughters and granddaughters. They perpetuate our wealth and they create a wealth culture by taking what they received and then growing it and giving that to the next generation. And so you're going to read a couple of stories in here in which I just grapple with this idea of how do I get my grandchildren to appreciate something they didn't have to work for, and how do we, how fine a line there is between inheritance and entitlement. Like on one side, we should leave an inheritance to our children. But on the other side, there's this whole thing about entitlement. Like if I start feeling like you better leave me an inheritance, like you owe me, like the prodigal son, give me my inheritance, you owe it to me. It's like that doesn't feel very honoring. That feels more like a hostile takeover than an empowering inheritance. And so I think you're going to really like the chapter because the chapter it really does help with this whole grappling, struggling with, okay, how do we pass an inheritance? First of all, that's part one. Like we have to think about it. We have to grow an inheritance. We have to live from overflow. We have to put money aside. We have to put time aside. We have to put favor aside for other people. And the second part of it is how do we prepare the landing pad, which is typically those who will receive the inheritance, and make sure that we're not giving our inheritance, as Ecclesiastes says, to fools. So we want our children, our grandchildren to value the inheritance. And so much of that comes from knowing their history, knowing their story, understanding the struggle. And storytelling is one of the great ways that our children understand the value of what was passed to them because they understand the cost and the sacrifice involved. And so I really want to bless you. I really want to challenge you today. Be thinking about not living on everything you make. Factor in, I'm a righteous person and I'm to leave an inheritance. And then begin to talk to the people who will receive this inheritance about the expectations you have around the way they would steward the gift that you're going to give them in time. Well, God bless you. Have a great week. We'll do some questions and answers later on. And hope you have an amazing, financial, prosperous life.